Hi everyone, welcome back to Plum Mashable. So I'm going to use the cute little stamps in the Woodland Wonders box to make this cool pop-up card. So if you want to see how I did it, just keep watching. Alright, so I'm going to start off with some Express It blending card. And then I'm going to grab the stamp set out of Woodland Wonders. As soon as I saw this stamp set, I knew I'd be doing something like this. It's just too cute not to. So I've got the 4 little critters. You could obviously do it with 3 or 2 or however many you feel like, but I'm going to stamp out all 4. And then I'm getting my Memento Tuxedo black ink, which is Copic friendly because we're going to colour in with Copics. I did think about using my Kmart watercolour markers, but just because of the vibrancy of the paper, I feel like a watercolour is just going to get lost. So I'm just going to use the Copics for today so we get a bit more saturation in there. So I'm just going to stamp out. I've got my raccoon. I've got my fox, who I swear is a girl fox. She looks like a girl fox. Thanks, Ryan. I've got my little squirrel. And then I've got my little owl. Now I'm going to use the colours of the animals in the kit to kind of guide me on how to colour these. And you could just cut these out of this bit of paper if you really didn't want to stamp them and colour them in, but I feel like this is it'll be easier to do. So I'm going to use some warm greys for the raccoon. I'm going to use, this is going to be fun. I don't have any like orangey browns. I do, but they're very, very orangey brown. So I'm going to use these kind of ones. So E08, E19, E11 for the fox. I'm going to use a little bit of like real oranges for the squirrel, but then I'll add in a little bit of E21. So I've got YR16, YR18 and YR04. Obviously if I add more in here I'll let you know. And then for the owl we're just going to do some nice dark brown. So I think I'm going to use E59, E57 and a little bit of E27, which I dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and colour these in. Hopefully we can zoom in and I'll keep the lids kind of up the top so you can see what colour. Oh no, Ryan will put them up on the screen. So fingers crossed this all works out. And like I said, I'm just using the page off to the side. It's sitting off to my left and I'll just look at it as a guide as to what colour to colour where. took, what, 10 minutes-ish? I was kind of going a bit faster. I think I had to kind of bring in a little bit more orange with the squirrel because it looked a little bit too, sorry, I had to bring in a bit yellow with the squirrel because it looked too orange. So I just decided to pull in a little bit of yellow instead of too much orange. I have left the owl's eyes white and I don't know if I'm happy with that. I'll decide later. Alright, so obviously I don't have dyes for this, so I'm just going to cut these out. Fussy cutting in the best possible way I can, so I'm just snipping off the bottom bit first because that makes life easier for me. I'll cut the first couple out with you and then I'll do the other two really fast. So I'm just cutting it like I would like I'd have a die, so with a little bit of white around the outside. And I'm just trying to be as careful as I can be. And then across the bottom, we'll just do one snip so that it's straight. Well, straight-ish. Too close, too close. Actually, I'm going to leave the little tab on the bottom just for now until we work out how we're going to get these to pop up. Now, I haven't kept 100% within the lines. I don't think I ever do. I feel like everybody who colours misses a little bit, so there's a little bit there that's outside the lines, but generally speaking, that's pretty good. Do the same thing just with I'll do the squirrel because it's a bit smaller, and I'll do the other two really fast. So I'm just leaving the bottom bit on it. The good thing is, because I'm cutting it like a die cut, I can come in with my white gel pen in a minute and kind of delete anywhere where I have gone outside the lines. Run over it with the gel pen. And normally if these were lawn fawn dyes, I'd do a little white highlight and some cheeks, but I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do that on these. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the other two really quick and I'll be right back. Alright, now this is where I'm getting a little bit more, not confused, but I'm not quite as clear from this point onwards as to how I'm going to do this. First thing I'm going to grab is another bit of cardboard, which is just plain white cardboard. There's nothing fancy here. And I just want to have these on one mechanism so that they move. Yeah, they're all going to have to move independently. All right, so I'm going to get the background, which I'm going to use. I think I like this bit of paper, I think. Because I want to use this bit on the front because I want to have them popping up from behind the leaves. That's sort of where I'm going, so I'll fussy cut some leaves or work out somewhere that this sits that they'll look like they're hiding behind them. And I'm just trying to decide if I like that or if I want to put it with some green. Maybe green. Definitely not red. Maybe green. I'll do it with some green. I'm going to cut it out just using this bit of this die. This is out of the Lawn Fawn Flipping Awesome add-on die. It's only going to be a little card, this one. It's not going to be a full-size kind of fancy card, so I think that's okay. I'm just going to trim out just how much I need. I know, paper cutter's guilt, but we're going to go with it. So I'm going to cut this out with my die cut machine. So it's going to give it two things. It's going to give it the scalloped edge all around the outside, but then it's also going to have this little stitching detail, which just makes it look really cool. And I'm going to do, I think, the same thing with the leaves here, and then I can have them, I can pop them behind. So I'm just going to look, oi, got too much stuff. Just going to look for a bit that kind of looks straight, maybe there, which is annoying because it's in the corner and I'd rather it be there. So see how there's sort of this straight line there? So I'm looking for something reasonably straight with the leaves. So if I went sort of around here, up, and then around over these ones, that would kind of give me the shape I want, I hope. So this is the back panel. And this will be the front panel, which we'll trim down in a second. Actually, we'll do it now. So that's sort of the bit on the bottom. I don't like that. There's just a little bit of white, and it's from the Gap. So I'm just gonna, just with this Kofi, I think it's EO8. I'm just gonna fill that in, and it's just so there's not a little bit of white, basically. Okay, so the leaves sit like that. I'm going to cut a strip of white. Doesn't have to be particularly straight because you're not going to see it anyway, but I just want it to be substantial so that you've got something for the 4 little bits to stick onto. Okay, so let's just put that there and that there. Actually, sort of stick. I'm just going to use a little bit of my glue tape just to kind of hold these still. So I'm just doing just a teensy little bit of glue. So I'm going to put the squirrel, sorry, the fox, then the raccoon, put the squirrel over this side. I'll move these around and get them actually in the right spot in a sec. We'll just spread these out a little bit more evenly. I'm leaving a little bit of a space in the middle because that's where the mechanism's going to go. So I'm just seeing where that sits. So they'll have to sit down a bit lower. This has not been my most well thought out card, guys. I'll happily admit that. I'm kind of winging it a bit more than I normally would. So don't mind if you can kind of see them a little bit, but I might put the little ones in the middle, and that way there's less chance of them being seen. There we go. So you can still see the squirrel, but you can't see the owl. Didn't want to have the 2 orange ones next to each other, but if I have to, I have to. I think that's okay. And then you'll pull up the tab and this will come up. So you could do this 2 ways. If you have the Lawn Fawn Let's Toast pull tab stamp set, die set, sorry, I would highly suggest using that because it's going to be a lot easier for you. I'm going to try and use it not with that so that you guys can see you can do it without things like that. So I'm going to kind of work out where my middle is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, right, so that's the middle there. So just with a lead pencil that I had not 5 minutes ago and now it's gone missing. Just with a lead pencil, I'm just going to mark sort of roughly and gently where that's going to go. Because we want, this is going to sit up. I'm actually going to end up cutting this a little bit thinner because I need a little bit of room for this to sit behind. So I'm just grabbing my cutting mat and I'm going to work out how much I need to cut off here. So I'm just going to cut so they'll hide in there. We've got the little bit and then we're going to pull it up. So I'm going to go ahead and stick these down so that they're in the right spot and then we can get to actually making the mechanism. And just because I want to make sure these stay in the same spot, I'm just going to mark with pencil where they are and that way I can glue them straight onto where they need to go. You're not going to see this bit of cardboard anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's a bit messy. I'm also just going to trim off on the edges, just around where the critters are, just again so that there's a little bit more room for them. And it's easy to hide this little mechanism. Alright, so that's going to sit there. Pull tab comes up through the middle, so I need to cut the little bit. Okay. I just need to work out how low that needs to sit. This is where tweezers are great because I can use them to kind of help me push that down. There we go. And you pull it up like that. But I am going to have to cut that out of a piece of green cardboard because at the moment you are going to see it and I don't want to. So I'm just going to really quickly do that just using the same green. I'm also just going to continue the colours down just a little bit further just so that I've got a bit more coverage. come up very far. I feel like I need to wiggle these around just a little bit more just to get them not popping up. So I'm going to just move. This is where the benefit of this is. I can just wiggle these around. So I'm just going to move the owl over a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to get to sticking down this little bit now. So I'm going to use my thin foam tape. This is Express It foam. No, it's not. It's Craft For You foam tape. It's a very skinny, but it's also not very high, which I'm a fan of because it means I don't need it won't become too bulky of a card. So I'm just running that along the bottom. I'll just trim that off. And then I'm going to run it up the sides and then just have little bits at the top because I don't want to, actually no I'm not. I'm just going to go just up here for now and I'll cut that sort of to match the shape on this side. And I'll come in and add some bits once we've got the critters all in the right spot. The reason we had to make it smaller because I forgot to leave room for the foam tape. So I've just made that a little bit shorter. There we go. So they're going to pop up like that. So that's as high as this is going to go. So I'm just marking that. And then just really gently pulling this up, which it'll do because I didn't push very hard. Doesn't matter if you ruin the foam tape, I can come back. We're going to trim out using our craft knife. A little line exactly where I put in that little mark. And then just going, it's just a little rectangle. I went that freehand. You could obviously straighten it, or have it straight. I don't think it needs to be straight, so I think it's okay. And I'm going to use another green bit to have the kind of tab that you pull up. So I'm going to have a little bit wider. I can always cut this thinner if I need to in a minute. And then attached to that, you're going to get two little bits of white cardboard. You're not going to see this, so this is fine to be white. And just do two sort of longish rectangles. And we're going to fold them in half. Size isn't important with these ones, they just need to be two little rectangles in half. We'll attach that to the bottom. So if you hold them, sort of pinch them together and you've got the glue on the side. They don't have to be particularly straight, they just need to be there. Then what we do is we pop this through here. Sort of starting to get the gist of this now, aren't you? Open these up, and then the little critters will sit on here. Now what I like to do at this point is just kind of put a little bit of glue tape here just to hold this still. I think this is going to be up too high still, so we're going to go down a bit further. So pull that. Wow, that did not move very far because it's obviously a little bit not quite enough. So we're going to just cut this down lower. So I'm actually going to just really gently cut that up. I've actually still got the mechanism in there, but if I don't push too hard, it shouldn't go through. Go. There we go. Now we've got the gist. All right. So that's how they're going to pop up. So I'm going to take off. First of all, I'm going to trim down these little bits because I don't need them to be quite as high as they are. And then just stick that down again. There we go. I'm going to make sure these are where I want everything to be. Just put them back in. If you need more glue, obviously just chuck a bit more glue on there. Now I try and keep this bit as straight as I can make it at this point. So a little bit of washi tape actually helps here because it'll hold it still, even though my line's not 100% straight. Open this back up again. It has a little bit of glue in there now, but that's alright. Yeah, I have. I've gone too high, but no idea why that didn't quite work. But anyway, it's still pretty cool. So you can see them just sort of popping up there. Just trying to think if there's a way I can make that not quite so high. There is. I know I can put a stopper on it, but oh, I'll do it on the back. I'll do it on the back. So I'm just going to go ahead and stick this down properly now with the foam tape. Happy to admit, guys, this has not been my best video. I've been a bit scattered, a bit weird. I think the result is going to be worth the effort, so I'm happy with it. Okay, so now that's stuck. That's still moving fine. I think I need a little bit more. I'm actually happy with, oh no, I'll block it. Think about there. I'm going to add a little bit more Copic just to the side of that owl, just so he looks a little bit more finished. So I want it to stop there. So I'm just going to tape that down. We're going to use a little bit of plain white cardboard again here. Just cutting a little collar, and the collar will sit in like this and fold over. That'll hold the little bit here straight. And I'm hoping when you push down, I'm gonna put the collar on first and get that stuck. This whole thing's gonna get mounted on another bit of cardboard, so you won't see the back mechanism. Stick that down. That was my error. I should have left it, but I didn't. So I could sit here for hours trying to fix it, or I could just keep going. So we'll do the keep going thing. So there we have the little pop-up mechanism. And then I'll put a little thing on here that says pull, so that you kind of know what to do with it. But we do need a sentiment of some kind here. So let's just see what we've got with the stickers first. I can't quite remember. Sorry, quote cards first, then the stickers. Create your own adventure, you're a who. Be wild and wonder, get lost somewhere beautiful. Never lose your sense of wonder, be one with nature. I kind of like the idea of it saying something like along the lines of popping up to say hello or something like that. Just a side kind of thing. You could have done this as a fence instead of the leaves. That would have looked really cute too. And I did think about doing that. I just decided to do the leaves instead. So I will stamp the popping up to say, I think I have a popping up. Actually, you know what? I like the idea of the never lose your sense of wonder. And I like that it's also on green. So this is where I'm always a bit scared to do things. You only put it in so many places, you have to make it smaller. So we're gonna have the fun of cutting this up. So I'm just gonna trim off the excess on the top and the bottom, and then work out if I'm gonna make it two bits or just one bit. Cut all around it, make it sort of more like a sentiment. I'm going to say sentiment strip, but it'll be more like a sentiment. Never lose your sense of wonder, and they'll pop up over the top. So I'm just going to stick these down really quick, and then we're going to mount it onto a card base, put the tab on, and we'll be done. way down. Maybe I didn't go down far enough. I'm just going to go down just a little bit further. So again, just using the craft knife just to put that down a little bit further. That's better. They still go all the way up, but I like it. That's much better. I need something in the middle, but I'll get to that in a sec. Alright, so for the tab bit, I'm going to add a little bit of red. So I'm just going to trim. This is about 2.5 centimeters wide. So I'm just going to cut a 2.5. I'm just going to do a little bit more than 2.5, and then I can cut off the excess if I have to. Do it this way. And if you want it as a tab shape, you can do it as a tab shape. I don't actually mind. I'm going to fold this in half. I'll trim off all the excess in a second, so don't panic yet. So it'll sit on the top here. I'll trim off to about there. Try and make it straight, please. That's my comment to myself, not to you guys. I'm just going to reinforce that fold and then just make it rounded at the top. This is another thing that you could use. You could use a die for that. I do have something very similar that would work, but because I'm trying not to do that for you guys, I'll just do it that way. And then I'm going to trim this. You need to trim it when it's at its highest point. Trim off the tab bit, the pull tab. Oh no, it's supposed to be the lowest point, wasn't it? I'm not having a good day. I can fix it. So I'm just putting that back on. It'll be stronger probably because it's now 2 pieces of cardboard. So it's when it's at the bottom. Lowest point, I'm going to trim off to there. See if that looks right. I think it needs to go a bit lower. Should have done this first. Anyway, you can always cut off more. Maybe just a teensy bit more. There we go. So it's going to sit just like that. And then you'll just pull it up. So it's going to go ahead and put some glue all over the inside here. It, guys, and that's not good enough for you, so I'm gonna do it properly. So I just cut another strip of the green and I'm just putting that tab bit back on there. Go. And if I put that at the lowest point and then just mark where that is, my lowest point. Want that collar to be a bit loose, because if it's too tight it won't move. And this is still not moving the way it should. I'm making that really loose now. It's working, but it feels really stiff, which it didn't feel before. I know why. I know why. This collar's too tight. There we go. So to actually finish this off, I am going to mount this on a bit of, not the red. I actually really want to use that wooden back. I think that looks like a really cool kind of background. And that would actually look really cool if that was just the whole card. So I'm going to trim this down to be, it's going to be 14, no it's not, it's going to be 13.5 centimeters wide. And I'm going to fold this in half. I'm just trying to decide if I want to use my scoreboard, which I do always have to get up to do it. So this is about 10 centimeters high. So if I score this at 10, I'm just going to check how big this is. It's 12. When you don't have your ruler, just do it this way. 22. So I'm just going to score it at 11. Bunch of foam tape on the back. If you want to use foam sheets like I showed you in my favorites, that's fine. It's whichever you feel more comfortable with. The foam sheet probably makes it look a little bit more finished, but either is fine. And the reason we use foam tape is so that we have enough room for the tab bit to move, because you don't want it getting stuck. So a bit of foam tape. I'm also going to grab a razor and just rub off that little bit that's sitting there. I also want to fix it. This isn't as straight as I'd like it, so I'm just going to make it a bit straighter. Make sure that's still okay, which it is. I don't know why that's popping up a bit more than I want it to, but it'll be fine. Stick all these down. The finished product is worth it. It just took a really long time and a lot of mistakes to get there. But I feel like it's very close to what I had imagined. It's just not quite perfect because I did go up a bit too far. If I'd stayed there, it might have been okay. But I did make that boo-boo. It's missing something in the middle. I don't know what. I think it's missing a leaf. So I'm just checking my dies. So these are the die cuts that came with the set. I think the little birds that are in here are going to be too big. Just grabbing this little leaf here, just so it looks like there's another little leaf falling. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw in a teeny weeny little triangle, and I'm just going to write on there pull, and there you have your little pull-up stamp, pull-up critter card. Now like I said, I made a lot of mistakes there. I was kind of fluffing around with it as I went. I like showing you guys the process of me making cards. I feel like sometimes if I do it and it's absolutely perfect and everything's wonderful, I don't think that's real. I think that's a little bit too, and it's the same reason I don't do voiceovers. I tend to talk to you guys while I'm doing it, because creating is never straightforward. Creating always takes a little bit of a turn, and that's why I like to show you guys the whole process. But if you'd prefer to see more polished videos from me, please let me know. You can leave the comments down below, or find me on any of my socials. All feedback is greatly accepted. I don't get annoyed at anyone for anything they say. If you think my videos suck, tell me. I'll get better. So I really appreciate when people give me honest feedback. If you did like this one, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to be subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. Hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day, whatever you get up to, and I'll catch you in my next video. Sending lots of huggles. Bye!